This recording was found on October 14, 2024, buried beneath a rotted Douglas fir in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, Washington State. The device, a waterlogged digital recorder from 2003, shouldn't have worked. The Forest Service technician who discovered it said the thing powered on the moment he touched it, like it had been waiting. What you're about to hear has not been edited. It has not been enhanced. And according to 3 separate audio forensic labs, it has not been faked. The voice on this recording does not belong to any known human speaker. The vocal range, the resonance patterns, the physiological impossibilities in the sound production, they all point to something else. Someone else. My name, I don't have one you could pronounce. Your people have given me many. Sasquatch. Skookum. The wild man Bigfoot. If anyone finds this recording, please excuse the heavy breathing. Running from humans is a cardio routine I never asked for. I'm recording this because I'm tired. Not just physically, though 73 years of being hunted will do that to you. I'm tired of the silence. Tired of the wait. Tired of knowing what I know and carrying it alone. They're closing in tonight. I can smell their fear mixing with their excitement. Thermal cameras. Night vision. Drones with heat signatures. They've gotten better at this. But they still don't know why I run. They think I'm the monster in these woods. I need to tell someone the truth before I'm gone. Before the real monster finds me first. The recording continues for 57 minutes. What follows is that testimony, presented as it was found, raw, unfiltered, and deeply unsettling. Because the creature we've been hunting for decades? He's been protecting us the entire time. I should start at the beginning. Not my beginning, that story would take days you don't have. I'm talking about the beginning of this. The moment I realized hiding wasn't enough anymore. It was 1967. Patterson and Gimlin caught me on film. You've seen it, everyone has. That grainy footage of me crossing Bluff Creek. 29 seconds that changed everything. People still debate whether it's real. Whether I'm real. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so exhausting. I let them see me that day. On purpose. I was trying to warn them. See, my kind, we're not what you think. We're not some missing link or evolutionary dead end. We're older than your recorded history. We remember when your species learned to make fire. We watched you discover agriculture. We saw you build your first cities. And we chose to fade into the forest rather than compete with you. After decades of avoiding humans, turns out the quiet was the only thing I was actually good at. But 1967 was different. Something had changed in the woods. Something I'd never felt before in my 247 years of life. The forest was afraid. Not the surface fear, the kind that comes from a predator nearby or a storm approaching. This was deeper. Older. The kind of fear that seeps into the soil and makes the trees lean away from certain places. I'd heard the stories from the elders of my kind. Warnings passed down through generations. There are things in this world older than us. Older than humans. Things that existed when the continents were different shapes. Most of them sleep. Most of them are content to remain in the deep places, the forgotten places. But sometimes, they wake up. That summer of 1967, something woke up in the Pacific Northwest. I didn't know what it was yet. I just knew the deer were moving in strange patterns. The bears were abandoning their territories. The birds went silent in certain valleys. And at night, when the moon was dark, I could hear something moving through the forest that didn't walk like any creature I'd ever known. So I broke protocol. I let myself be seen. I walked across that creek bed in broad daylight, knowing there were humans nearby with cameras. I wanted them to start looking. Start paying attention. Start coming into these woods with their equipment and their crowds and their noise. Because noise keeps things away. Light keeps things away. Human presence, for all its destruction, has one benefit. The ancient things don't like witnesses. For a while, it worked. The Bigfoot hunters came. The cryptozoologists. The weekend warriors with their plaster casts and their blurry photos. They tramped through every valley and ridge. They made so much noise that the thing, whatever it was, retreated back into the deep places. The forest started breathing again. I thought it was over. I thought maybe it had been a fluke. Maybe the thing had just been passing through. Maybe it had gone back to sleep. I was wrong. My home, if you can call it that, has moved 17 times in the last 50 years. I don't build shelters like you do. We find natural formations. Caves, mostly. Deep ones. Places where the stone remembers the old earth. Places where the walls hold warmth and the entrances can be concealed. My current refuge is in the Cascade Range. I won't tell you exactly where. Not to protect myself, though that's part of it. But because if you found it, if you went there, you might find the other thing too. And that's a discovery humanity isn't ready for. The cave mouth is hidden behind a waterfall. The sound masks everything. Footsteps. Voices. The grinding of stone on stone. It's perfect camouflage. I've been here for 6 years now. Longer than anywhere else. I chose this place because it's remote. Because the terrain is brutal. Because humans rarely venture this far off trail, and when they do, they don't stay long. The air here is thin. The cold is sharp. The forest is dense enough that even your drones have trouble navigating the canopy. But mainly, I chose it because of what's beneath it. There's a network of caves under these mountains. Ancient lava tubes mixed with limestone chambers. They run for miles. Hundreds of miles. Maybe thousands. I've never mapped them all. Neither has anyone else. Your geologists know some of them exist, but they don't know the depth. They don't know the scale. They don't know that some of those passages lead to places that shouldn't exist. Places where the stone is wrong. Where the air tastes like copper and time moves differently. I've marked the entrances. All of them I could find. Piled stones. Scratched symbols into the rock. The old warnings my kind has used for millennia. They're not for humans, you wouldn't recognize them anyway. They're for my people. For anyone else who might wander into these mountains and think about exploring those depths. The message is simple. Do not enter. What sleeps below must not be disturbed. It started 3 months ago. Late July. The height of summer, when the forest should be at its most alive. Hikers on every trail. Campers in every clearing. Rangers doing their rounds. But I noticed the patterns first. Hikers going missing. Not many. Not enough to make the news. But enough that I saw the search parties. Heard the helicopters. Watched the tracking dogs lose the scent at the same spots over and over again. The official report said they got lost. Fell into ravines. Succumbed to exposure. Standard wilderness fatalities. Nothing unusual. But I knew better. I could smell it. Fear. Fresh and sharp. Not the fear of being lost. The fear of being hunted. I started tracking the disappearances. Following the search grids. Checking the last known locations. And I found the patterns the rangers missed. Or maybe they saw them and ignored them because the alternative was too impossible to accept. Every disappearance happened within 2 miles of a cave entrance. Every single one. And not just any cave entrance. The marked ones. The ones I'd warned against. Someone, or something, was ignoring the warnings. Then I found the first body. Or what was left of it. A hiker. Male. Mid-30s. Experienced, based on his gear. He'd been carrying a professional camera rig. Expensive. The kind nature photographers use. The camera was still there, crushed into fragments. The memory cards were missing. Everything that could hold an image was gone. But it was the body that told the real story. He hadn't been killed by an animal. Animal attacks have patterns. Claw marks. Bite radius. Feeding behavior. This was something else. He'd been opened carefully. Surgically, almost. Organs removed with precision. Bones broken in specific places. And his face had been peeled away completely. Not torn. Peeled. I buried what I could. Covered the rest. I didn't report it. Who would I report it to? Who would believe me? And more importantly, what would happen if they did believe me? They'd send more people. More cameras. More lights. They'd go into those caves looking for answers. And that's exactly what it wanted. Maybe the bear learned to walk on two legs and whisper my name. That's what I told myself when I first heard it. The voice in the forest. Always at dusk. Always when I was alone. My name, or the closest approximation to my name that a human throat could make. Drawn out. Echoing. Coming from directions that made no geographical sense. I'd be on a ridge, and the voice would come from below and above simultaneously. I'd be in a valley, and it would surround me from all sides. I'd be in my cave, behind the waterfall, and I'd hear it coming from deep within the mountain. From the passages I'd marked forbidden. The voice never said anything else. Just my name. Over and over. A summons. An invitation. A taunt. I stopped sleeping. Sleep makes you vulnerable. Sleep takes away your awareness. And I needed every sense sharp, every instinct ready. I've gone weeks without sleep before. We can do that, my kind. Our biology is different. But even for us, there are limits. The exhaustion played tricks on me. I'd see movement in my peripheral vision. Shadows that didn't match the light source. Trees that looked like figures until I turned to face them directly. The classic signs of sleep deprivation. I knew that. But I also knew some of those movements were real. I started finding evidence of surveillance. Broken branches at unnatural angles. Stones moved from their positions. Marks in the soil that looked like footprints but weren't quite right. 3 toes instead of 5. Too large. Too deep. Spaced too far apart for any gait I recognized. And the smell. God, the smell. Like sulfur mixed with rotting vegetation and something else. Something mineral. Like the earth itself was decomposing. It would drift through the forest on windless nights. Thick enough to taste. Heavy enough to coat your throat. The animals knew. They always know first. The deer stopped coming to the meadows. The elk abandoned their migration routes. The bears, even the grizzlies, moved to the outer ranges. Birds stopped singing in certain groves. Insects went silent. It was like someone was drawing a circle of death around my territory, and everything living knew to stay outside it. Except humans. Humans kept coming. Because humans never listened to their instincts anymore. I tried to scare them off. The usual methods. Tree knocking. Howls. Leaving massive footprints in obvious places. Breaking branches. Making sounds in the night. Sometimes it worked. They'd pack up their tents and leave at first light, telling themselves it was just an animal. Just the forest being the forest. But some of them stayed. Some of them went deeper. Some of them found the caves. I couldn't watch all the entrances. There were too many. And it was starting to move during the day now. I could feel it. The distortion in the air. The wrongness. Like reality was thin in certain spots, and something was pressing against it from the other side. I saw it once. Just once. And I wished to whatever created me that I hadn't. It was early morning. Mist still heavy in the valleys. I was tracking a group of college kids who'd camped too close to the northern cave system. I wanted to make sure they left. Guide them out if necessary. Do my usual phantom routine. I found their camp empty. Tents still set up. Fire still smoldering. Gear scattered like they'd left in a hurry. But no signs of struggle. No blood. No indication of where they'd gone. Then I saw the trail. Freshly broken brush leading straight toward the cave mouth. And footprints. Human footprints. 5 sets. Walking in a perfect line. Same stride. Same depth. Like they were marching. Like they were being controlled. I followed. I shouldn't have. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back. But I had to know. Had to see. Had to confirm what I was starting to suspect. The cave entrance was different. The stones I'd piled were moved. Not scattered. Moved. Arranged in a new pattern. A spiral. And the marks I'd carved into the walls were altered. The warnings were changed. They now read like invitations. I stood at the threshold. The darkness inside wasn't natural. It was too complete. Too solid. Like it was a physical thing. And from somewhere deep within, I heard water dripping. Rhythmic. Steady. Except the rhythm was wrong. It was beating. Pulsing. Like a heartbeat. Like the mountain itself had a heart. And then I saw it. Just for a second. Just a glimpse. Something massive moving in that darkness. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that bent the light around it. I couldn't make out a shape. Couldn't distinguish features. But I could feel its attention lock onto me. Could feel its awareness pierce through me like I was transparent. It knew I was there. It had always known I was there. And it was pleased that I'd finally come to look. I ran. For the first time in decades, I ran without thinking. Without planning. Pure instinct. Pure terror. I didn't stop until I was miles away, gasping, shaking, pressed against a tree trunk trying to remember how to breathe properly. The college kids were never found. The official report said they'd probably fallen into a ravine. Their bodies would turn up eventually. Maybe in spring when the snow melted. That's what always happens. Tragic accident. Happens every year. But I knew better. I'd seen where they went. And they weren't coming back. I need to explain something. Something my kind has known for longer than your civilizations have existed. The world you see is not the only world that exists. There are layers. Dimensions, you might call them. Realities pressed against each other like pages in a book. Most of the time, they don't touch. Most of the time, they're separate. But in some places, in old places, the boundaries are thin. Permeable. Things can cross over. Or leak through. The caves I've been talking about, they're not just geological formations. They're weak points. Places where the fabric between worlds has worn thin. And what's on the other side, what's been pressing against that fabric for eons, it's been waiting for an opportunity. My kind, we've been the watchers. The guards. We exist in the liminal spaces between human civilization and the deep wild. We can sense the thin places. Feel the wrongness. And we've spent millennia making sure nothing crosses over. making sure the boundaries stay intact. But we're not immortal. We're not invincible. And our numbers have been dwindling. There used to be thousands of us across these continents. Now there are maybe a few hundred. Maybe less. The modern world doesn't leave room for creatures like us. Your expansion. Your technology. Your insatiable need to document everything. We have nowhere left to hide. And fewer of us to stand watch. The thing in the caves, it knew this. It had been patient. Waiting for our numbers to drop. Waiting for our vigilance to waver. And when it sensed weakness, it began to wake. I found the journal on September 3rd. It was in an abandoned ranger station about 15 miles from my cave. The station had been decommissioned in the 80s. Windows broken. Roof half collapsed. Nature slowly reclaiming it. I only went there because I was tracking something, a scent that didn't belong. The same sulfur rot smell from the caves. It led me to the station. The journal was in a metal filing cabinet. Surprisingly well preserved. It belonged to a ranger named Marcus Webb. The entries dated from 1952 to 1954. And they told a story I'd never heard before. A story that made everything click into place. Webb had been investigating strange occurrences in the forest. Disappearances that didn't make sense. Sounds that couldn't be explained. Areas where compasses spun wildly and radio signals failed. He documented everything meticulously. Dates. Times. Locations. Witness statements. And he'd come to the same conclusion I had. Something was wrong with the caves. But Webb had gone further. He'd found historical records. Native American accounts from the tribes who'd originally inhabited these mountains. They had stories about the caves. Called them the hollow places. Said they were doorways to the below world. Places where the spirits of the dead became confused and couldn't find their way home. Places where things that were never alive could take form. The tribes had rituals. Ceremonies to keep the hollow places sealed. They'd perform them every season. Binding the doors. Reinforcing the boundaries. They'd been doing it for generations. Maybe thousands of years. But when the Europeans came, when the tribes were displaced, killed, forced onto reservations, the ceremonies stopped. The doors went unwatched. The boundaries began to weaken. Webb had tried to warn people. He'd filed reports with the Forest Service. Written letters to universities. Contacted anthropologists. Everyone thought he was losing his mind. Spending too much time alone in the wilderness. Seeing patterns that didn't exist. He was eventually forced into early retirement. Psychological evaluation. The journal was likely confiscated and filed away. Forgotten. His last entry was chilling. October 17, 1954. He wrote that he was going into the caves one final time. He had to see for himself. Had to know if what the old stories described was real. He never came back. His body was never found. The official report said he'd probably fallen into a crevasse. Another tragic wilderness accident. But I knew better now. Webb had found what I'd glimpsed. And it had taken him. The journal included maps. Hand-drawn. Showing the cave networks. Webb had explored them more extensively than anyone. He'd marked certain chambers with warnings. Areas where the stone was wrong. Where the passages led downward past the point where any natural formation should exist. Where the air was breathable but wrong. Where time didn't behave properly. One chamber in particular was marked with multiple warnings. Symbols from different tribal traditions. Christian crosses. Protective sigils. And in English, written in large letters, "Do not enter." The threshold. And below that, "It watches from here." I compared Webb's maps to my own mental geography of the cave systems. The chamber he'd marked, I knew where it was. Or approximately where. It was deep. Miles underground. Accessible only through a series of increasingly narrow passages. No human could reach it easily. You'd need specialized equipment, training, and a reason to go that deep in the first place. But the college kids who'd disappeared, their camp had been near the northern entrance. One of the larger caves. One that connected to Webb's network. And if something was luring people inside, guiding them, controlling them, then the depth wouldn't matter. They'd go as deep as it wanted them to. I made a decision that night. One I knew I might not survive. I had to go into the caves. Had to reach the threshold chamber. Had to see what was there. Maybe I could seal it somehow. Or at least understand it. Maybe there was something in my ancestral memory, some knowledge my kind had preserved, that could help. Or maybe I'd end up like Marcus Webb. Another name on a list of people who vanished into the wilderness. Another unsolved mystery. But at least I'd know the truth. At least someone would. This recording would survive even if I didn't. I prepared for 3 days. Gathered supplies. Food that wouldn't spoil. Water. A salvaged headlamp from a crashed camper's gear, batteries still good. Rope. Webb's journal. And something else. Something I'd kept hidden for 60 years. A gift from an elder of my kind before they passed. A stone. Not a regular stone. It was carved with symbols older than any human language. Smooth. Dark. Warm to the touch. The elder had told me it was a ward. Protection against things that existed before flesh and bone. I'd never needed it before. Never believed I would. But I carried it now. The northern entrance was a 4-hour journey from my cave. I traveled at night. Easier to move unseen. The forest was dead silent. No crickets. No owls. No rustling of small mammals in the undergrowth. Just my footsteps and my breathing and the wind through the trees. Even the wind sounded wrong. Like it was blowing from somewhere it shouldn't be able to come from. I reached the cave at dawn. The entrance was larger than I remembered. Or maybe it had grown. The stone around the opening looked eroded in strange patterns. Geometric. Almost intentional. And the darkness inside was that same solid blackness I'd seen before. Impenetrable. Waiting. I activated the headlamp. The beam barely penetrated 10 feet. I could see the walls, slick with moisture. Covered in moss. But beyond that initial circle of light, nothing. The darkness swallowed everything. I stepped inside. The temperature dropped immediately. Not gradually. Instantly. My breath came out in clouds. The moisture in the air crystallized. I could hear water dripping somewhere ahead. That same rhythmic pulse. That heartbeat pattern. Steady. Patient. Ancient. The passage sloped downward. Gently at first. Then steeper. The walls narrowed. I had to turn sideways in places. My shoulders scraped against stone. The air tasted metallic. Copper and salt. And underneath it all, that sulfur smell. Getting stronger. I followed Webb's map. Left at the first junction. Straight through the cathedral chamber, a massive open space where my headlamp couldn't find the ceiling. Down again. Through a squeeze where I had to exhale completely to fit. Into a passage where water ran ankle deep. Cold enough to sting. Down. Always down. Time became meaningless. I don't know how long I walked. Hours. Maybe longer. The headlamp battery should have died. But it didn't. It kept shining. Steady. Unwavering. Like something wanted me to keep seeing. Keep moving. Keep going deeper. I started finding things. Objects that shouldn't be there. A child's shoe. Pristine. No wear. No dirt. Just sitting in the middle of the passage. A wedding ring on a stone ledge. A photograph, the paper somehow dried despite the moisture, showing a family I didn't recognize. A camping lantern. A compass with a cracked face, the needle spinning endlessly. And bones. Lots of bones. Not human, mostly. Animal bones. But arranged in patterns. Spirals. Concentric circles. Forming shapes that hurt to look at too long. The passage opened into another chamber. Smaller than the cathedral. But this one was different. The walls were smooth. Too smooth. Like they'd been carved. Polished. And they were covered in markings. Thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. Different styles. Different ages. Some looked ancient. Weathered almost beyond recognition. Others looked fresh. Recent. Like they'd been carved days ago. I recognized some of the symbols from my kind's lore. Warnings. Bindings. Protections. But they were mixed with others I didn't know. Human symbols. Tribal markings. Christian crosses. Islamic crescents. Hindu mandalas. Buddhist prayers. Egyptian hieroglyphs. Sumerian cuneiform. Languages that predated writing. Every culture that had ever existed seemed to have left their mark here. All saying the same thing in different ways. Do not wake what sleeps below. Do not speak its name. Do not look upon its face. Turn back. Flee. Forget this place exists. But someone had been crossing them out. Scratching through them. Defacing them. Recent marks. Made with metal tools. Human tools. And written over them in English, in what looked like fresh paint, dripping and red, too late. The chamber ended in a door. An actual door. Not natural stone. Not wood. Something else. It looked like metal but felt organic when I touched it. Warm. Pulsing faintly. And it was covered in the same symbols. But these weren't warnings. These were instructions. A ritual. A sequence. A way to open it. This was the threshold. Webb's final warning. The door between worlds. And someone had been trying to open it. I heard footsteps behind me. Multiple sets. Human footsteps. Slow. Steady. Approaching from the passage I'd come through. I turned. My headlamp caught them. 5 figures. The college kids. Walking in that same perfect line. Same stride. Same vacant expressions. Their eyes were open but seeing nothing. Or seeing something I couldn't. Their mouths moved in unison, forming words I couldn't hear but felt in my bones. They walked past me. Ignored me completely. Like I wasn't there. Like I was a ghost. They approached the door. And in perfect synchronization, they placed their hands on it. 5 different spots. Each corresponding to a symbol on the surface. The door began to glow. Faint at first. Then brighter. The pulse increased. The heartbeat sound became deafening. The entire chamber shook. Stones fell from the ceiling. Dust and debris rained down. The door was opening. And from the other side, I felt something looking back at me. Not with eyes. With something older. Something that existed before sight was invented. It knew me. recognized me. Not as an individual, but as a thing in its way. An obstacle. A guard who had failed. I did the only thing I could think of. I pulled out the ward stone. The elder's gift. And I spoke the words they'd taught me. Old words. Words from before my kind had language. Sounds that resonated with the earth itself. Binding sounds. Sealing sounds. The stone grew hot in my hand. Burning. But I held it. I walked toward the door. Toward the 5 figures. And I pressed the stone against the metal surface, right in the center, where all the symbols converged. The light went out. Instantly. Completely. Even my headlamp died. Total darkness. Absolute. The kind of darkness where you can't tell if your eyes are open or closed. Where up and down lose meaning. Where you're not sure you have a body anymore. Then sound. A sound I can't describe. Imagine every scream you've ever heard. Every cry of pain. Every moment of terror. Every nightmare given voice. All of it happening at once. All of it directed at me. Compressed into a single moment that stretched into eternity. And then silence. Cold. Empty. Dead silence. The kind of silence that exists at the end of everything. When the last star dies. When entropy finally wins. When nothing remains but the memory of nothing. I don't know how long I was in that darkness. When the world came back, when I could feel stone beneath me and air in my lungs and weight in my limbs, I was lying in the threshold chamber. Alone. The door was still there. Still sealed. But the symbols were different. Brighter. Stronger. And the ward stone had melted into the surface. Fused with it. Permanent. Unbreakable. The 5 college students were gone. Just gone. No bodies. No trace. Like they'd never existed. But I knew they had. I'd seen them. And I knew what had happened. The thing on the other side had taken them. Payment. Or punishment. Or maybe just because it could. I crawled out of that cave system. I don't remember the journey. Don't remember the passages or the chambers or how long it took. I just remember finally seeing daylight. Finally breathing air that didn't taste like death. Finally feeling warmth that came from a sun and not from something below that shouldn't be warm. I sealed the northern entrance. Brought down half the cliff face. Tons of rock. It'll take decades for anyone to clear it. Maybe centuries. And I marked it. Every symbol I could remember. Every warning my kind ever knew. Made them huge. Obvious. Impossible to miss. But I know it won't matter. Humans will be curious. Humans will want to know what's behind all that rock. Why someone went to such effort to block it. And eventually, someone will dig. Someone will open it again. And the thing below will be waiting. Patient. Eternal. Ready to try again. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, I've been hunting. Not running. Hunting. Looking for other entrances. Other weak points. Other places where the boundaries are thin and that thing might try to push through again. I've found 7 so far. Sealed them all. Used every ward I could make. Every symbol I could remember. Exhausted myself to the point where I'm not sure I'll recover. But it's not enough. There are too many caves. Too many passages. Too many places where the old world touches the new. And I'm just one. One tired, aging creature trying to hold back something that has infinite patience and infinite hunger. I'm being hunted now. Not by the thing below. It's done with me. It knows I'm not a threat anymore. Not really. I bought maybe a few years. Maybe a decade. But eventually, it'll break through. Someone will open a door I couldn't seal. Or the seals will weaken. Or the boundaries will thin on their own. It's inevitable. No, I'm being hunted by humans. The government kind. The kind with heat sensors and tracking technology and budgets that let them blanket these mountains with surveillance. They know something happened. Too many disappearances. Too many anomalies. Too much seismic activity that doesn't match any natural patterns. They're investigating. Getting close. They're looking for answers. And they're looking for me. Because someone saw me near the collapsed cave entrance. Got it on camera. Clear footage. Not grainy. Not blurry. High definition. My face. My full body. Undeniable proof that I exist. The evidence everyone's been waiting for. The discovery of the century. They think I'm the answer. They think if they catch me, study me, question me, they'll understand what's happening in these mountains. They think I'm the mystery. But I'm not. I'm just the guard at the gate. And the real mystery is something they should pray they never solve. I know how this ends. I've always known. My kind doesn't live forever. We age slowly, but we age. And I'm old now. Too old. The wounds don't heal like they used to. The strength isn't there. The speed is gone. I can't run from helicopters. Can't hide from thermal imaging. Can't outmaneuver drones. They'll catch me eventually. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week. And they'll take me somewhere. Some facility. Some laboratory. They'll study me. Document me. Try to understand how I exist. And in doing so, they'll leave the mountains unguarded. The caves unwatched. The boundaries undefended. And that thing below, it'll know. It'll sense the opportunity. And it'll try again. Maybe it'll succeed. Maybe the next person who finds a cave entrance won't have the knowledge to resist. Won't understand what's at stake. They'll go deeper. They'll open the door. They'll let it through. And then everyone will finally believe in monsters. But by then, it'll be too late. I'm making this recording because someone needs to know the truth. Not the truth about me. That doesn't matter. The truth about what's down there. What's been down there since before humans climbed down from the trees. What's been waiting in the dark for its chance to climb back up. My kind has a prophecy. Passed down through our oral histories. It says there will come a time when the watchers fall. When the boundaries fail. When the things that were locked away will walk the earth again. We always thought it was metaphorical. Symbolic. A warning to stay vigilant. But I understand now. It was literal. It was a prediction. And it was about this moment. This time. This failure. Mine. The elder who gave me the ward stone, they told me something before they died. They said our purpose wasn't to prevent the end. It was to delay it. To give humanity time. Time to grow. Time to evolve. Time to become strong enough to face what was coming. They said we were buying time with our vigilance. Decades. Centuries. Millennia. But time always runs out. I don't know if humanity is ready. I don't know if anyone could ever be ready for what's below. But the time is coming. The boundaries are failing. The seals are breaking. And soon, very soon, the watchers will be gone. I can hear them outside. The helicopters are circling. They've found my location. The thermal signature. The cave behind the waterfall. They're setting up equipment. Preparing to extract me. They probably think this is the greatest scientific discovery in history. They probably think they're making the world a better place by bringing me into the light. They have no idea what they're really doing. But they'll learn. Eventually. When the disappearances start again. When the things that shouldn't exist start crawling out of holes in the earth. When the old world finally breaks through into the new. They'll learn that some mysteries should stay buried. Some questions should never be answered. Some doors should remain locked. I tried to stop it. I tried to hold the line. But I'm just one creature. One very tired, very old creature who's been fighting a losing battle for longer than I care to remember. If I disappear tonight, I'm retiring. The forest can hunt itself for a while. That's a lie. The forest can't protect itself. Never could. That's why we existed. Why we chose exile over comfort. Why we spent millennia hiding in the spaces between human knowledge and absolute darkness. Because someone had to stand watch. Someone had to remember the warnings. Someone had to keep the seals intact. But there's no one left after me. I'm the last of my kind in these mountains. Maybe the last anywhere. And when they take me, when they lock me away in their facility with their cameras and their scientists and their endless questions, the mountains will be empty. The caves will be unwatched. And the thing below will know. It's always known. It's been listening to every footstep. Every breath. Every moment of my vigilance. Waiting for the exact second when I'm no longer there. When the ancient agreement is finally broken. When the last guardian is removed from the board. And then it will move. Not quickly. It doesn't need speed. It has time. All the time in the world. It will send dreams first. Visions. Calling people into the forest. Into the caves. Making them curious. Making them brave. Making them ignore every instinct that says to turn back. It will use people like puppets. Like the college students. Guiding them deeper. Deeper. Until they reach the doors. Until they speak the words. Until they break the final seals. And when those doors open, when the threshold is crossed, it won't be an invasion. It won't be an attack. It will be a slow seepage. A contamination. The world will start feeling wrong in ways people can't articulate. Time will skip. Geography will shift. People will get lost in places they've walked 1,000 times. Animals will behave strangely. The weather will follow patterns that don't match any model. Reality itself will start to fray at the edges. And no one will connect it to the caves. To the disappearances. To the thing that was locked away for so long. They'll blame climate change. Solar flares. Mass hysteria. Anything that fits their understanding of how the world works. Because accepting the truth would mean accepting that their entire conception of reality is wrong. That there are older powers. Deeper laws. Things that existed before physics and will exist after. I've seen it happen before. Small scale. Limited. In places where the boundaries weaken naturally. A valley in Tibet where time moves at different speeds depending on where you stand. An island off the coast of Japan where the dead walk during certain moon phases. A forest in Romania where trees grow in impossible spirals and compasses point toward the center. My kind sealed those places. Contained them. Kept them from spreading. But this is different. This is intentional. This thing has been planning for centuries. Maybe longer. It studied humans. Learned their patterns. Their weaknesses. Their psychology. It knows exactly how to manipulate them. Exactly what to offer them. Exactly how to make them complicit in their own destruction. Power. Knowledge. Immortality. Proof. Evidence. Understanding. All the things humans crave. All the things they'll sacrifice anything to obtain. The thing below knows this. And it will use it. Every door it needs opened, every seal it needs broken, every guardian it needs removed, it will find a human willing to do it. Because humans always think they're special. Think they're different. Think they can control what others couldn't. They can't. No one can. That's why it was locked away in the first place. Not by humans. By things older than humans. By the first conscious entities to walk this earth. They recognized what it was. Recognized what it would do if left free. And they bound it. Sealed it. Scattered the keys across impossible distances and buried them in places where nothing should ever find them. But the keys are being found. The seals are breaking. The old powers that created the locks are long gone. And the only thing standing between that entity and the surface world is me. One tired creature with knowledge I barely understand and tools I can barely use. It's not enough. It was never going to be enough. The helicopters are landing now. I can hear boots on stone. Voices. Commands. They're surrounding the waterfall. Cutting off every exit. They've brought tranquilizer rifles. Nets. Restraints. They're not taking chances. They're treating this like capturing a dangerous animal. They don't know that I could kill every person in that unit if I wanted to. Don't know that my strength, even diminished, is beyond human capacity. Don't know that I've been holding back for 70 years specifically to avoid killing them. Because that's not who we are. My kind. We're not killers. We're protectors. Even when the thing we're protecting doesn't know we exist. Even when they hunt us. Even when they destroy our homes and push us to extinction. We protect them because that's our purpose. That's what we were made for. By whom or what, I don't know. But the purpose is burned into our bones. Into our souls if we have such things. I could run one more time. Break through their perimeter. Disappear into the deep woods. Buy myself a few more days. Maybe weeks. But what would be the point? They'll keep coming. Keep hunting. And every moment I spend running is a moment I'm not watching the caves. Not reinforcing the seals. Not standing guard. No. It's better this way. Let them have their proof. Let them have their discovery. Let them celebrate and document and study. And when it all falls apart, when the thing below makes its move, maybe someone will remember this recording. Maybe someone will understand. Maybe someone will be ready. Or maybe not. Maybe humanity will face what's coming completely unprepared. Completely ignorant of what they're up against. And maybe that's for the best. Sometimes ignorance is a mercy. Sometimes knowing the truth is worse than dying in the dark. They're at the cave entrance now. I can smell them. Fear and excitement mixed together. Adrenaline. Anticipation. They think they're making history. They think this moment will define their careers. Their lives. They think they're heroes. They're not. They're just humans. Doing what humans do. Pushing boundaries. Seeking answers. Refusing to accept that some doors should stay closed. Some questions should never be asked. Some things should remain unknown. I'm going to stop recording in a moment. Put this device back in its waterproof case. Bury it in the spot where it was found. Or will be found. Time is strange here. Linear but flexible. The caves do that. Bend causality. Make past and future touch in ways they shouldn't. If you're listening to this, if you found this recording, then several things are true. I'm gone. Captured or dead. The caves are unwatched. And the thing below is making its move. You need to know what to do. What to look for. How to fight back if fighting is even possible. First, the signs. If the boundary is failing, you'll notice reality becoming inconsistent. Small things at first. Electronics malfunctioning near forests. Compasses spinning. GPS systems failing. Animals migrating at wrong times. Birds flying in patterns that don't match any known behavior. Dreams becoming more vivid. More shared. More prophetic. Then larger things. People reporting lost time. Experiencing hours as minutes or minutes as hours. Geographical anomalies. Trails that loop back on themselves. Landmarks appearing in wrong locations. Entire areas becoming hostile to human presence. Making people sick. Making them scared. Making them leave. And finally, the disappearances. Not random. Not scattered. Concentrated around specific locations. And if you map those locations, they'll form patterns. Geometric shapes. Ritual configurations. Summoning circles on a massive scale. That's when you'll know it's almost through. Almost free. What can you do? Honestly, I don't know. My kind had knowledge passed down through generations. Techniques. Rituals. Words of power. But I'm the last. And I can't teach you what I barely understand myself. But I can tell you this. The wards work. Symbols have power if you believe they do. Faith, any faith, creates barriers. Not because of the specific religion. But because belief itself is a form of reality enforcement. It says this is true and that is not. It draws lines. Creates boundaries. The thing below thrives on doubt. On uncertainty. On the spaces between what is and what might be. Belief, true unshakable belief, is poison to it. So if you find yourself near one of the caves, near one of the weak points, believe. Believe in something. Anything. Your own strength. Your right to exist. The solidity of the ground beneath your feet. The reality of the sun above. Make it solid in your mind. Make it unquestionable. And that will hold it back. For a while. The symbols help too. The ones I mentioned. Draw them. Carve them. Paint them. Make them visible. They're not magic. They're reminders. Anchors. They say humans were here. Humans claimed this space. Humans defined this reality. And that matters. More than you know. But mostly, and I can't stress this enough, stay away from the caves. All of them. Not just the marked ones. All cave systems in old mountain ranges. Places where the stone is ancient. Where the geology predates human existence. Where the darkness feels heavier than it should. Trust your instincts. If a place feels wrong, it is wrong. Your animal brain knows. Listen to it. Don't go looking for answers. Don't investigate. Don't try to document or study or understand. Some knowledge isn't worth having. Some mysteries should die unsolved. Let the caves stay dark. Let the deep places remain unexplored. Let the old world sleep. Because if it wakes fully, if the thing below finally breaks through, there won't be a defense. There won't be a battle. There won't be a war. There will just be a slow, inevitable transformation. The world will change. Reality will shift. And humanity will find itself living in a universe with very different rules. Rules written by something that existed before rules existed. You'll adapt. Humans are good at that. Survivors. Flexible. But you'll lose something in the process. Something essential. The thing that makes you human. The certainty. The stability. The trust that the world makes sense. That tomorrow will be like today. That the laws of nature are constant. That certainty will be gone. And in its place will be constant vigilance. Constant fear. Constant awareness that reality is thinner than you thought. That monsters are real. That the darkness has teeth. Is that a world worth living in? I don't know. I've never lived in any other kind. But you have. You've had the luxury of certainty. Of stability. Of a world that makes sense. Don't give it up. Don't let them take it from you. Fight for your ignorance. Protect your reality. Keep the doors closed. They're coming through the waterfall now. I can hear them. Shouting. Commands. The tranquilizer rifle being loaded. Safety coming off. I should be afraid. Should be angry. But mostly I just feel tired. And relieved. The burden is lifting. My watch is ending. Someone else's problem now. I hope whoever finds this understands. I hope you're ready. I hope humanity survives what's coming. But if you don't, if the thing below wins, if the old world returns, know that we tried. My kind. We stood watch for as long as we could. We held the line. We protected you even when you didn't know you needed protection. And we'd do it again. Given the choice. Given another chance. Because that's what guardians do. Even when the cost is everything. Even when no one knows. Even when no one cares. The light from their flashlights is filling the cave now. Harsh. Bright. Artificial. Chasing away shadows that should never be disturbed. They're calling out. Telling me to show myself. To come peacefully. Promising I won't be harmed. Lies. Well-intentioned ones. But lies nonetheless. They'll harm me just by existing. By observing. By documenting. By trying to understand. Some things aren't meant to be known. Some creatures aren't meant to be seen. We exist in the spaces between. In the blind spots. In the forgotten places. Bringing us into the light destroys us. Not physically. But essentially. We lose what we are. What we were made to be. We become specimens. Curiosities. Proof. Evidence. Objects of study. We stop being guardians and become prisoners. And the moment that happens, the moment we're caged, the things we were guarding against will be free. I'm going to meet them now. Going to let them take me. Not because I want to. But because resisting will only cause more harm. More death. More attention. And the caves need to be forgotten. Need to fade back into mystery. Need to be left alone. So this is it. The end of my story. The last confession of the last guardian. I don't know what comes next. For me or for you. But I know the truth now. And the truth is this. The monsters you fear. The things that go bump in the night. The shadows at the edge of the firelight. They're real. All of them. Every story. Every legend. Every nightmare passed down through generations. Real. But they're not what you should be afraid of. Because those monsters, we know them. We can fight them. We can understand them. We can even coexist with them. It's the things we don't know that should terrify you. The things that exist in the spaces between stories. The things so old and so alien that even myths can't capture them. The things that were here before consciousness existed and will be here after it ends. Those things are waking up. The boundaries are failing. The seals are breaking. And when they're fully awake, when they walk the earth again, every monster you ever feared will be hiding right alongside you. Because they're afraid too. We're all afraid of what's coming. I set the recorder down now. The case is waterproof. Military grade. It will survive. Long after I'm gone. Long after everything that's about to happen happens. Someone will find it. Someone will listen. And maybe, just maybe, someone will understand. The burden I've carried for 247 years is lifting. I thought I'd feel relief. Freedom. Instead, I feel guilt. Shame. Failure. I should have been stronger. Should have been smarter. Should have found a way to do what my ancestors did. Hold the line. Keep the watch. Protect the boundaries. But I'm not my ancestors. I'm just me. One individual. One creature. Limited. Mortal. Tired. And the world has changed. The forest is smaller. The wilderness is tamed. There's nowhere left to hide. Nowhere left to stand guard from. The modern world doesn't leave room for guardians. For watchers. For things that exist in the shadows. Maybe that's the real tragedy. Not that the seals are breaking. But that humanity progressed to the point where they forgot why the seals existed in the first place. They pushed so far into the wilderness that they destroyed the buffer zones. The neutral territories. The places where things like me could exist between their world and the old world. And in destroying those spaces, they exposed themselves. Made themselves vulnerable. Opened doors they don't even know exist. Progress. Development. Expansion. All necessary. All inevitable. All human. But all carrying a cost no one calculated. No one considered. Because no one remembered what was being held back. What was being kept in the dark. What was sleeping in the deep places. And now it's too late. The space between worlds is gone. The boundaries are touching. And what was separated for good reason is coming back together. Collision. Convergence. Catastrophe. Whatever you want to call it. It's happening. And I couldn't stop it. I can hear them in the cave now. Multiple teams. They're being cautious. Professional. They know I'm dangerous. Or could be. They don't know I won't hurt them. Can't hurt them. Won't let myself hurt them. Because even now, even in failure, I'm still a guardian. Still protecting. Still trying to do what I was made to do. There's a young woman in the lead. I can smell her. Fear and determination mixed together. She's brave. Or foolish. Probably both. She's calling out to me. Soft voice. Soothing. Like I'm an animal that might spook. Like I don't understand language. Like I haven't been listening to humans speak for longer than her great-grandparents have been alive. I almost want to laugh. The absurdity of it. After everything. After centuries of watching and protecting and hiding and running. To be spoken to like a frightened bear. But I don't laugh. Because she means well. They all do. They think they're doing the right thing. Advancing knowledge. Solving mysteries. Making the world a better place. They don't know. Can't know. Won't know until it's too late. And by then, I'll be locked away somewhere. Unable to warn them. Unable to help. Unable to do anything but watch as everything I tried to prevent comes to pass. Maybe I should tell them. Right now. Walk out. Speak. Make them listen. Explain everything. The caves. The seals. The thing below. The danger. The truth. Maybe they'd believe me. Maybe they'd understand. Maybe they'd help. But they wouldn't. I know they wouldn't. Because I've tried before. Subtle attempts. Moving things. Making sounds. Leaving signs. Trying to guide humans away from dangerous places. Away from the weak points. Away from the caves. And every time, every single time, it made them more curious. More determined. More convinced there was something worth finding. Human nature. Can't fight it. Can't change it. Can only work around it. And I've run out of ways to work around it. Run out of tricks. Run out of time. Run out of strength. Run out of hope. The young woman is closer now. I can see her light. Bright. Piercing. She's armed but the weapon is lowered. Non-threatening. She thinks she's safe. Thinks I'm contained. Cornered. Helpless. She's wrong on all counts. But I'll let her believe it. Because the alternative is violence. And violence serves no one. Least of all the cause I've spent my life defending. I could leave one more message. One more warning. Carved into the cave wall. Scratched into stone. Something they'd have to see. Have to acknowledge. Have to investigate. But what would it say? What words could possibly convey the magnitude of what's at stake? What's coming? What they need to know. Stay away from the caves. Simple. Direct. Clear. But they won't. They never do. Warnings make things more interesting. More valuable. More worth investigating. It's human psychology. The forbidden fruit. The locked door. The dangerous path. Tell them not to go somewhere and that's exactly where they'll go. So maybe the opposite. Come into the caves. Explore them fully. Document everything. Make them so well known, so thoroughly mapped, so completely understood that they lose their mystery. Their power. Their attraction. Strip them of their mystique. Turn them into tourist destinations. Light them up. Put railings in them. Make them safe. But that won't work either. Because the danger isn't from the caves themselves. It's from what's beyond them. What's below them. What's waiting in the spaces between spaces. And no amount of lighting or mapping or tourism will change that. Might even make it worse. More access. More people. More opportunities for something to go wrong. For someone to push too far. To break a seal they don't know exists. To open a door they don't understand. There's no good answer. No solution. No way to protect them from themselves. From their curiosity. From their need to know. To understand. To explore. It's what makes humans successful. What let them dominate the planet. What gave them technology and civilization and progress. But it's also what will destroy them. What will let the old things back in. What will end the age of humanity and begin something else. The age of what? I don't know. Don't want to know. Can't imagine. But it's coming. Soon. Very soon. And all I can do is hope that somewhere, someone, somehow survives. Adapts. Overcomes. Finds a way to live in the new reality. The changed world. The place where monsters walk in daylight and nightmares are just another part of existence. Humans are resilient. I've seen it. Watched them survive ice ages and plagues and wars and disasters. Watched them adapt to changing climates and hostile environments and impossible odds. Maybe they'll adapt to this too. Maybe they'll find a way. Maybe the old world and the new world will find a balance. A coexistence. A peace. Or maybe not. Maybe the old world will simply consume the new. Overwrite it. Replace it. Turn Earth into what it was before humans existed. Before anything that thinks or dreams or hopes existed. Back to the primal chaos. The formless void. The darkness before light. I don't want to think about that. Don't want to imagine it. But I have to. Because that's what I've been fighting against. What I've dedicated my entire existence to preventing. The return. The restoration. The end of everything that is and the beginning of everything that was. And I failed. I have to accept that. Have to own it. Have to live with it, however long I live. I failed. The Guardian failed. The watch ended. The line broke. Not with a bang. Not with a battle. Not with glory or heroism or sacrifice. Just with exhaustion. Attrition. Time. The slow erosion of will and strength and hope. If I survive tonight, I'm retiring. The forest can hunt itself for a while. Another lie. I'll never retire. Never stop. Never give up. Even in captivity. Even in a cage. Even studied and documented and displayed. I'll be looking for ways. For opportunities. For chances to escape. To return. To take up the watch again. Because that's what I am. What I'll always be. Guardian. Watcher. Protector. Even if there's nothing left to protect. She's almost here. The young woman. I can hear her breathing. Quick. Nervous. Excited. She's calling to me again. Telling me it's okay. That they won't hurt me. That I'm safe. That everything will be fine. More lies. Well-intentioned. But lies. Nothing will be fine. Nothing will be okay. Nothing will be safe. Not for me. Not for her. Not for anyone. But I'll pretend. For her sake. For all their sakes. I'll let them believe they've succeeded. Let them have their moment. Let them think they've made history. Discovered the undiscoverable. Proven the unprovable. Let them celebrate. Because soon enough, they'll understand. Soon enough, they'll know. Soon enough, the horror will begin. And maybe, just maybe, when it does, they'll remember this moment. This cave. This capture. And they'll understand what they really caught. Not a creature. Not a specimen. Not an evolutionary curiosity. But a guardian. A protector. The last line of defense. And they'll regret taking me off the board. Taking me away from my post. Taking me out of the forest. But by then, regret will be too late. By then, the doors will be open. The seals will be broken. The thing below will be free. And the world will never be the same. I see her light now. Directly ahead. Approaching the chamber where I sit. Where I've been sitting for hours. Days. Maybe longer. Time moves strangely here. Always has. Always will. The cave itself is a thin place. A weak point. A boundary zone. Being here too long changes you. Makes you part of both worlds. Neither fully here nor fully there. I stand. My joints ache. My muscles protest. I'm old. So old. Too old for this. Too old for any of this. But I stand anyway. Because I want to meet them on my feet. Want to face them with dignity. Want them to see me as I am. Not as they imagine. Not as the legends describe. But as I truly am. Tired. Worn. Broken. But still standing. Still here. Still trying. The light fills the chamber. Blinds me momentarily. I raise a hand to shield my eyes. Human gesture. Instinctive. Universal. She sees me. I see her see me. The moment of contact. Of confirmation. Of proof. Her eyes go wide. Her breath catches. She's frozen. Unable to move. Unable to speak. Unable to process what she's seeing. I'm real. I exist. I'm standing right in front of her. All the questions. All the doubts. All the debates. Settled in an instant. Bigfoot is real. And he's looking right at her. Intelligent eyes. Human eyes. Eyes that have seen things she can't imagine. Eyes that carry the weight of centuries. Eyes that know what's coming. Eyes that plead with her to understand. To listen. To believe. But she can't hear my eyes. Can't read my expression. Can't see beyond the surface. She sees a creature. A specimen. A discovery. Not a person. Not a guardian. Not a warning. Just an animal. An intelligent animal. But an animal nonetheless. She raises her weapon. Not to shoot. Just to be ready. Just in case. Training. Protocol. Safety. I don't move. Don't threaten. Don't react. I just stand there. Hands visible. Posture neutral. Non-threatening. Waiting. For the inevitable. For the net or the dart or the restraints. For capture. For the end of my watch. For the beginning of the end. More lights. More people. The team surrounds me. Professional. Efficient. They've done this before. Different animals. Different contexts. But the procedure is the same. Contain. Control. Transport. I let them. Don't resist. Don't fight. Don't do anything but cooperate. Because resistance serves no purpose. Changes nothing. Saves no one. The dart hits my shoulder. Cold. Sharp. Brief pain. Then warmth. Spreading. Relaxing. The tranquilizer. Strong. Enough to drop a bear. But I'm not a bear. My biology is different. Metabolism is different. It'll work. Eventually. But slower than they expect. I have time. A few minutes. Maybe less. I use it to speak. My voice surprises them. They step back. Weapons raise. Fear. Confusion. Shock. They didn't expect this. Didn't prepare for this. An intelligent creature is one thing. A speaking creature is another. I see their worldviews shattering in real time. Everything they thought they knew. Everything they believed. Crumbling. I tell them about the caves. About the seals. About what's below. Words tumbling out. Faster. Urgent. The tranquilizer is working. I can feel it. My tongue is heavy. My thoughts are slow. But I have to try. Have to warn them. Have to make them understand. They think I'm hallucinating. Delirious. The drug affecting my brain. Making me ramble. They're not listening. Not really. They're documenting. Recording. Making notes. But not believing. Not accepting. Not understanding. To them, I'm a creature telling stories. Myths. Legends. Not truth. Not warning. Not prophecy. I'm falling now. The drug is winning. My legs won't hold me. I'm on my knees. Then on my side. The stone is cold against my face. The lights are dimming. Or my vision is fading. Hard to tell. Hard to focus. Hard to care. I see the young woman. She's kneeling beside me. Checking my vitals. Making sure I'm not dying. Professional concern. Medical training. She doesn't hate me. Doesn't fear me. Just sees me as a patient. A responsibility. Something to be preserved and studied and kept alive. I want to tell her. Want to warn her specifically. She seems kind. Seems smart. Seems like someone who might listen. Might understand. Might help. But the words won't come. The drug has taken my speech. Taken my movement. Taken everything but consciousness. And even that is fading. My last thought before the darkness takes me is of the caves. Of the seals I placed. Of the ward stones I melted into doors. I wonder how long they'll hold. How long before someone finds them. Before curiosity overcomes caution. Before another door opens. Another seal breaks. Another piece of the barrier falls. Days. Maybe weeks. Probably not months. The thing below is patient. But not infinitely so. It's been waiting so long. It's so close. It can taste freedom. Taste victory. Taste the new world waiting to be consumed. It won't wait much longer. It can't. The opportunity is too perfect. The timing too precise. The guardian is captured. The watch is ended. The path is clear. I hope I'm wrong. Hope the seals hold forever. Hope the thing below goes back to sleep. Hope humanity never opens those doors. Hope this recording is found and believed and acted upon. Hope the young woman remembers my words and investigates and understands and warns everyone. But hope is not a plan. Hope is not a defense. Hope is just a wish that things will be different than reality suggests. And reality is brutal. Reality is clear. Reality is inevitable. The age of guardians is over. The age of humanity is ending. The age of something else is beginning. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing anyone can do. We had our chance. My kind and humanity both. We had millennia to prepare. To strengthen. To build defenses. To create a world where the old things couldn't return. Couldn't break through. Couldn't reclaim what was once theirs. We failed. Failed because we forgot. Failed because we stopped believing. Failed because we thought progress meant safety. Meant protection. Meant the old things were gone forever. That they were just stories. Just myths. Just ancient superstitions from primitive times. But they were never gone. Just sleeping. Just waiting. Just biding their time until the barriers weakened and the guardians fell and the way was clear. And now it is. Clear. Open. Undefended. And they're waking up. All of them. Not just the thing below. But others. Everywhere. In deep oceans and remote deserts and frozen wastelands and forgotten places all over the world. The boundaries are failing globally. The seals are breaking everywhere. The old world is returning. And the new world has no idea what's coming. The darkness takes me finally. Complete. Total. Absolute. No dreams. No thoughts. No awareness. Just nothing. Peaceful. Quiet. Empty. The tranquilizer has won. I'm unconscious. Helpless. Being loaded onto a stretcher. Carried out of the cave. Away from my post. Away from my purpose. Away from everything I've fought to protect. When I wake, I'll be somewhere else. Somewhere far from the forest. Far from the caves. Far from the thing below. I'll be in a cage. In a laboratory. In a facility designed to contain me. To study me. To understand me. And I'll be powerless to stop what's coming. Powerless to warn anyone. Powerless to protect anything. The humans will think they've won. Think they've made the discovery of the century. Think they've proven the impossible. They'll celebrate. They'll publish papers. They'll give interviews. They'll become famous. Their names will be remembered. Their careers will be made. They'll think they're heroes. Pioneers. Scientists. Discoverers. They're not. They're grave robbers. Seal breakers. Door openers. They've removed the last obstacle. The final defense. The ancient watch. And they have no idea what they've done. What they've unleashed. What they've allowed. But they'll learn. Soon. Very soon. When the disappearances increase. When the anomalies multiply. When reality starts breaking down. When the old things start walking in daylight. When the nightmares become real. When the world changes into something unrecognizable. They'll learn. And they'll understand. And they'll regret. But it will be too late. Too late to seal the doors. Too late to restore the boundaries. Too late to bring back the guardians. Too late for anything except survival. Adaptation. Acceptance. The world is ending. Not with fire or flood. Not with war or plague. But with a return. A restoration. A reclamation. The old world taking back what was always theirs. What was only borrowed. What was never truly owned. And all I can do is sleep. Drugged. Captured. Removed. Defeated. The last guardian. The final watcher. The end of a lineage that stretched back to the beginning of memory. Gone. Taken. Finished. I'm sorry. To my ancestors who trusted me with this duty. To my kind who are already gone. To the humans who don't know what I've failed to protect them from. To the young woman who tried to be kind. To everyone who will suffer because I wasn't strong enough. Wasn't smart enough. Wasn't enough. I'm sorry. The recording ends here. Static for a moment. Then silence. The device keeps running until the battery dies 3 hours later. But there's nothing more to hear. No more words. No more warnings. No more confessions. Just the sound of water dripping somewhere in the cave. That steady rhythmic pulse. That heartbeat pattern. Still beating. Still waiting. Still hungry. If you're listening to this, if you found this recording, if you've heard everything I've said, then you know the truth now. You know what's in the caves. You know what's coming. You know what we lost when they took me away. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Will you warn people? Will you try to seal the doors? Will you attempt to restore the watch? Or will you ignore it? Dismiss it. Rationalize it away. Tell yourself it's just a story. Just an elaborate hoax. Just a clever fiction. The choice is yours. The responsibility is yours. The future is yours. I've done everything I can. Said everything I know. Warned everyone I could reach. The rest is up to you. But I'll leave you with this final thought. This last warning. This ultimate truth. The next time you're in the forest. The next time you hear something moving in the darkness. The next time you feel eyes watching from the shadows. The next time your instincts scream at you to run. Listen. Because it might be me. Escaped. Returned. Back on watch. Back on guard. Back protecting you even though you don't deserve it. Even though you captured me. Even though you took me away. Because that's what guardians do. We protect. Always. Forever. Even when it costs us everything. But it might not be me. It might be something else. Something older. Something worse. Something that's been waiting in the dark for its chance. For its moment. For its turn. And if it is, if you encounter one of the old things, if you come face to face with what was locked away, then pray. To whatever you believe in. Whatever gives you strength. Whatever makes you feel safe. Pray that it's merciful. Pray that it's quick. Pray that it doesn't notice you. Doesn't see you. Doesn't remember you exist. Because the old things, they don't hate humanity. Hate requires emotion. Requires recognition of the other as something significant. Something worthy of feeling toward. The old things don't have that. Don't feel that. Don't think that way. To them, you're not an enemy. Not a threat. Not even a nuisance. You're just something in the way. Something temporary. Something that exists briefly in a space they occupied long before and will occupy long after. You're not even an obstacle. Just a moment. A flicker. A breath between eternities. And that's more terrifying than hatred could ever be. Because you can fight hatred. Can reason with it. Can understand it. Can sometimes even overcome it. But indifference. Cosmic indifference. The complete lack of recognition that you matter at all. That's unfightable. That's absolute. That's final. So pray you never encounter it. Pray the seals hold. Pray someone stronger than me takes up the watch. Pray humanity learns. Pray the boundaries are restored. Pray the old world stays buried and the new world remains ignorant and safe and untouched. But if your prayers go unanswered, if the worst happens, if the doors open and the things below emerge and the world transforms into nightmare, then remember this. Remember me. Remember my warning. Remember that there was once a creature who tried. Who fought. Who stood between you and the darkness. Who failed. But who tried. And remember that failure is not the end. It's just a transition. A change. A transformation. What comes after failure is either acceptance or renewed effort. Either giving up or standing up. Either surrender or resistance. I don't know which humanity will choose. Don't know if you're capable of fighting what's coming. Don't know if anything is. But I know this. You're survivors. You've outlasted ice ages. Outlasted plagues. Outlasted disasters that should have ended you. You adapt. You endure. You persist. Maybe you'll do it again. Maybe you'll find a way to live in a world where the impossible is commonplace. Where monsters walk freely. Where reality is fluid. Where the old rules no longer apply. Maybe you'll thrive in that chaos. Maybe you'll become something new. Something stronger. Something that can coexist with the old things. Or even stand against them. Or maybe you won't. Maybe the old world will consume you. Erase you. Replace you. Turn your cities to dust and your civilizations to memory and your entire species to a footnote in a history book written by something that doesn't use books. Or language. Or history as you understand it. Either way, it will happen. The change is coming. The transformation is inevitable. The age is ending. My watch has failed. The boundaries have fallen. The seals are breaking. The doors are opening. And all I can do is hope that somewhere in the darkness, someone hears this. Someone believes this. Someone acts on this. Someone becomes the next guardian. The next watcher. The next protector. Someone takes up the burden I'm laying down. Someone stands where I can no longer stand. Someone holds the line that I've let break. Because the watch must continue. The guard must remain. The boundaries must be defended. Not for my sake. Not for the sake of my kind. But for everyone. Everything. All life that thinks and dreams and hopes. All consciousness that looks at the universe and sees beauty instead of void. All beings that create instead of consume. That build instead of destroy. That love instead of devour. That's what's at stake. Not just humanity. But the very concept of meaning. Of purpose. Of light in the darkness. The old things existed before meaning. They'll exist after. They don't need it. Don't want it. Don't understand it. They just are. Eternal. Unchanging. Inevitable. Absolute. But we need meaning. All of us. Human and creature alike. We need to believe that existence matters. That consciousness has value. That the universe is better with us in it than without. And if the old things return fully, if they reclaim the world completely, that meaning will vanish. Not destroyed. Just rendered irrelevant. Made obsolete. Forgotten. And that cannot happen. Must not happen. Will not happen if I have any say. But I don't anymore. I've been removed. Captured. Taken off the board. My voice is gone. My strength is gone. My watch is ended. But yours isn't. Yours is just beginning. You who are listening to this. You who have found this recording. You who now carry this knowledge. You are the new guardian. The new watcher. The new protector. Whether you want to be or not. Whether you accept it or not. Whether you believe it or not. The burden is yours now. The responsibility. The duty. The honor. Do with it what you will. Deny it. Embrace it. Ignore it. Act on it. The choice is yours and the consequences are yours and the future is yours to shape or surrender. I've said everything I can. Done everything I could. Fought as long as I was able. Held the line until I couldn't hold it anymore. The rest is up to you. Up to all of you. Up to humanity and whatever allies you can find and whatever strength you can muster. Good luck. You'll need it. More than you know. More than I can explain. More than anyone has ever needed before. But luck alone won't save you. Won't protect you. Won't defeat what's coming. You'll need courage. You'll need knowledge. You'll need belief. You'll need unity. You'll need sacrifice. You'll need everything that makes you human and everything that transcends humanity. You'll need to become more than you are. Better than you are. Stronger than you thought possible. Or you'll need to become like us. Like my kind. Living in the spaces between. Existing in the shadows. Accepting exile and obscurity and the eternal burden of standing watch. Becoming guardians yourselves. Becoming the next line of defense. Becoming what you've been hunting. What you've been fearing. What you've been denying exists. The irony would be poetic if it wasn't so tragic. Humanity becoming what I am. Taking my place. Assuming my role. Living my life. Carrying my burden. Full circle. The hunted becoming the hunter. The seeker becoming the guardian. The civilized becoming the wild. But maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's how it always was meant to be. Maybe my kind were just placeholders. Temporary guardians. Holding the watch until humanity was ready to take over. Until you evolved enough. Grew enough. Understood enough. Maybe you're ready now. Maybe the time has come. Maybe my capture wasn't a failure but a transition. A passing of the torch. A changing of the guard. Maybe everything happened exactly as it was supposed to. According to a plan I never understood. Never saw. Never could comprehend. Or maybe I'm rationalizing. Making sense of senselessness. Finding meaning in meaninglessness. Trying to believe my failure serves a purpose. That my capture wasn't the end but a beginning. That the story doesn't end with me but continues through you. I want to believe that. Need to believe that. Have to believe that. Because the alternative is unbearable. That I failed. Period. No purpose. No meaning. No silver lining. Just failure. Just defeat. Just the end of everything I spent my life protecting. But belief doesn't make things true. Hope doesn't change reality. And reality is what it is regardless of what I want or need or believe. The seals are breaking. The doors are opening. The old things are waking. And I'm not there to stop them. That's the truth. Hard. Cold. Absolute. And no amount of rationalizing changes it. No amount of hope fixes it. No amount of belief repairs it. It is what it is. And what it is the end of my story. The last words of the last guardian. The final confession of a creature who tried and failed and hopes someone else will succeed where he couldn't. The recording device is almost out of battery now. I can hear it in the static. The degradation. The dying light. Soon it will shut off. Go silent. Wait in the darkness until someone finds it. Decades from now. Maybe centuries. Time is strange in these caves. What seems like tomorrow might be 100 years. What feels like yesterday might be 1,000 years ago. But whenever it's found, whoever finds it, whatever state the world is in when this recording reaches human ears again, know this. I was real. I existed. I tried. I cared. I failed. But I tried. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the trying is what matters. Not the success. Not the victory. Not the happy ending. Just the effort. The attempt. The refusal to give up even when giving up is the only rational choice. The standing in the gap even when the gap is too wide to hold. The fighting the unwinnable fight because it's the right fight to fight. Maybe that's what being a guardian means. Not winning. Just not surrendering. Not succeeding. Just not stopping. Not defeating the darkness. Just holding a light against it for as long as possible. For as long as strength remains. For as long as breath continues. For as long as consciousness persists. And if that's true, if that's what it means, then maybe I didn't fail after all. Maybe I succeeded in the only way that matters. I tried. I held the light. I stood in the gap. I fought the fight. I didn't surrender. I didn't stop. I didn't give up until they made me. And maybe that's legacy enough. Maybe that's monument enough. Maybe that's memory enough. Not victory but valor. Not success but sacrifice. Not triumph but trying. I hope so. I have to hope so. Because it's all I have left. All I can claim. All I can offer. I tried. God help me. I tried. The battery dies now. The recording ends. The light goes out. The voice fades. The confession concludes. The last guardian falls silent. But the story doesn't end. Not really. Because stories never end. They just pause. Transform. Continue in different forms through different voices in different times. This story will continue. Through you. Through whoever hears this. Through whoever acts on this. Through whoever takes up the watch. The guard changes. But the watch continues. Always. Forever. Eternal. Because it must. Because the darkness never stops. The old things never surrender. The boundaries always need defending. And someone always stands. Always watches. Always guards. That someone is you now. Whether you want it or not. Whether you accept it or not. Whether you understand it or not. You heard the warning. You know the truth. You carry the burden. What you do with it determines everything. The future. The fate. The final outcome. Will you stand or surrender? Will you watch or ignore? Will you guard or abandon? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The responsibility is yours. Use it well. Fight hard. Never surrender. Hold the line. Keep the watch. Guard the boundaries. Protect the light. Stand against the darkness. Be the guardian the world needs. Be the watcher the world deserves. Be the protector the world must have. Or don't. Ignore this. Forget this. Dismiss this. Live your life. Pursue your dreams. Pretend the darkness isn't real. Pretend the monsters don't exist. Pretend the old things are just stories. Pretend the world makes sense. Pretend you're safe. But know that pretending doesn't make things untrue. Doesn't make danger disappear. Doesn't make monsters vanish. Doesn't make the old things sleep. It just makes you unprepared. Unready. Unguarded. Vulnerable. And when the darkness comes, and it will come, it finds the unprepared first. Takes the unready easiest. Consumes the unguarded quickest. Claims the vulnerable completely. So choose wisely. Choose carefully. Choose knowing the stakes. Choose understanding the cost. Choose accepting the consequences. Because the choice you make now. Today. This moment. This second. It determines not just your fate. But everyone's fate. Everything's fate. The entire world's fate. No pressure. No burden. No responsibility. Just the future of all existence resting on your shoulders. On your decision. On your action. Or inaction. What will you choose? What will you do? What will you become? Guardian or victim? Watcher or prey? Protector or protected? Hero or casualty? Legend or statistic? The answer shapes everything. Changes everything. Determines everything. Choose well. Please. For all our sakes. For everything that lives and breathes and dreams and hopes. For the light that pushes back the darkness. For the meaning that fills the void. For consciousness itself. Choose to stand. Choose to watch. Choose to guard. Choose to be what I could not be. Succeed where I failed. Accomplish what I couldn't. Save what I lost. Protect what I couldn't defend. Be the guardian. Be the light. Be the hope. Please. The recording ends. Static fills the cave. Then silence. Complete. Total. Absolute. The kind of silence that existed before sound was invented. Before vibration disturbed the stillness. Before anything moved or breathed or lived. And in that silence, deep below, something stirs. Something ancient. Something patient. Something that has been waiting for this exact moment. For the guardian to fall. For the watch to end. For the path to clear. It rises. Slowly. Deliberately. Inevitably. Moving through stone like water. Through darkness like light. Through impossible spaces toward impossible places. Climbing. Ascending. Approaching. The seals are broken. The doors are open. The way is clear. It's coming. And no one is there to stop it. No one except you. Listener. Finder. Heir to the watch. Guardian by necessity. Protector by circumstance. Defender by fate. It's your turn now. Your watch. Your burden. Your responsibility. Your choice. What will you do? The silence waits for your answer. The darkness waits for your response. The world waits for your decision. Everything waits. Everything watches. Everything depends. On you. Only you. The last guardian is gone. The new guardian must rise. Must stand. Must hold the line. Will you? Can you? The forest holds its breath. The mountains tense. The caves pulse with anticipation. The old thing climbs closer. 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 And somewhere, far away, in a facility with white walls and bright lights and locked doors, a creature opens his eyes. Looks at his cage. Feels the pull. Senses the breach. Knows the watch has failed. And whispers one final warning to anyone who can hear. To you who are listening. To you who now carry the truth. And if you ever hear footsteps behind you in the woods, pray they belong to me. Because if they don't, if they belong to what I was guarding against, if they belong to the thing that's been climbing from below, then run. Run fast. Run far. Run knowing you can't escape. Not really. Not truly. But run anyway. Because running is human. Surviving is human. Fighting against the inevitable is human. And humanity, for all its flaws, for all its failures, for all its foolishness, has one strength that nothing else possesses. You never give up. Never surrender completely. Never accept defeat as final. You rise. You adapt. You overcome. You survive. So survive this. Overcome this. Adapt to this. Rise above this. Take up the watch. Become the guardian. Hold the line. Protect the light. Stand against the darkness. Do what I could not. Succeed where I failed. Save what I lost. Please. The world depends on it. Everything depends on it. Existence itself depends on it. On you. The recording is complete. The confession is finished. The warning is delivered. The burden is passed. The watch changes hands. What happens next is up to you. Choose wisely. Choose bravely. Choose soon. The darkness is climbing. Time is running out. The moment is now. The hour is upon us. The change is here. And only you can stop it. Or try to. Or die trying. But at least try. Please. For all of us. For everything. For the light that must not go out. For the meaning that must not fade. For the consciousness that must not end. Try. That's all I ask. All I hope. All I can hope. Try. And if you fail, if the darkness wins, if the old world returns, at least you tried. At least you stood. At least you fought. At least someone carried the watch after me. After my kind. After the guardians fell. At least someone remembered. Someone cared. Someone tried. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the trying is what matters. Maybe the stand is what counts. Maybe the effort is what echoes through eternity. I have to believe that. Need to believe that. Choose to believe that. Because if it's not true, if the trying doesn't matter, if the stand means nothing, if the effort is futile, then everything I did was meaningless. Everything I sacrificed was wasted. Everything I was is forgotten. And I can't accept that. Won't accept that. Refuse to accept that. So I believe. I hope. I trust. That my watch mattered. That my stand counted. That my effort echoed. That my warning reached you. That my truth found ears willing to hear. That my burden found shoulders willing to carry it. I believe in you. In humanity. In the next guardian. In the future. In the light. In the possibility that the darkness can be held back. That the old things can be contained. That the boundaries can be restored. That the watch can continue. I believe. And that belief. That hope. That faith. That trust. It's my final gift. My last offering. My closing words. My ultimate legacy. Believe. Hope. Trust. Stand. Watch. Guard. Protect. Try. And if you ever hear footsteps behind you in the woods, pray they belong to me. Because I'll be coming back. Somehow. Someday. Some way. I'll escape. I'll return. I'll take up the watch again. I'll stand beside you. I'll help you hold the line. I'll protect what must be protected. I'll guard what must be guarded. I'll defend what must be defended. I promise. The watch continues. Always. Forever. Eternal. And so do I. The last guardian is never truly gone. Just waiting. Just preparing. Just gathering strength. Ready to return. Ready to stand. Ready to guard. Until then, the watch is yours. The burden is yours. The honor is yours. Carry it well. Hold it high. Honor it always. And remember. In the darkness. In the danger. In the moments when all seems lost and hope seems gone and defeat seems certain. Remember. You are not alone. You are never alone. The guardians stand with you. The watchers see with you. The protectors shield with you. We are with you. Always. Forever. Eternal. Stand strong. Watch carefully. Guard fiercely. Protect boldly. Fight bravely. And never, ever give up. The watch continues. Through you. Because of you. For you. Guard well. Watch true. Stand firm. The world depends on it. Everything depends on it. We depend on it. On you. Guardian. Watcher. Protector. Heir to the ancient watch. Bearer of the sacred burden. Keeper of the eternal vigil. Thank you. For listening. For hearing. For understanding. For accepting. For trying. Thank you. The forest thanks you. The mountains thank you. The world thanks you. Everything thanks you. And I thank you. From the depths of my ancient soul. From the core of my being. From the heart I didn't know I had until this moment. I thank you. Goodbye. Good luck. Good hunting. May your watch be long. May your stand be strong. May your courage never fail. May the light never leave you. May the darkness never claim you. May you succeed where I failed. May you save what I lost. May you protect what I couldn't. May you become what I was meant to be. Guardian. Watcher. Protector. Hero. Goodbye. And if you ever hear footsteps behind you in the woods, pray they belong to me. The device was found buried 2 feet beneath the forest floor. No explanation for how it got there. No indication who buried it. The location was marked on no map. The coordinates led to nowhere significant. Just a random spot in the wilderness where nothing should be. But the forest rangers who found it said the trees around that spot were different. Leaning away. Like they were avoiding something. The ground was bare. No vegetation. No moss. No life. Just dead soil in a perfect circle. 20 feet across. Precise. Intentional. Impossible. And carved into every tree within sight, symbols. Thousands of them. Warnings in languages no one could read. Protections in forms no one recognized. Seals and patterns no one understood. But everyone felt them. Everyone knew what they meant. Without knowing how. Without understanding why. Stay away. Don't disturb. Don't investigate. Don't question. Leave. Forget. Never return. The recording device was removed despite the warnings. Despite the feelings. Despite the instincts. Because humans always need to know. Always need to understand. Always need to see what's hidden. The device was brought to a facility. Studied. Analyzed. Documented. The recording was extracted. Digitized. Backed up. Preserved. And listened to. By scientists. By researchers. By government officials. By people with security clearances and need-to-know access and authority to make decisions. They heard everything. The warning. The truth. The confession. The burden. The passing of the watch. And they classified it. Buried it. Locked it away. Declared it a hoax. Elaborate fiction. Clever propaganda. Nothing real. Nothing true. Nothing to worry about. Because accepting it would mean accepting the impossible. Accepting that monsters are real. Accepting that the world they know is not the world that exists. Accepting that they are not safe. Not protected. Not secure. And that's unacceptable. Unbearable. Unthinkable. So they denied it. Dismissed it. Forgot it. Filed it away in a vault that no one will ever open. In a database that no one will ever search. In a category that no one will ever investigate. The warning was given. The truth was shared. The burden was offered. And humanity rejected it. All of it. Every word. Every plea. Every desperate attempt to protect them. Because that's what humans do. When faced with uncomfortable truths. Inconvenient realities. Dangerous knowledge. They look away. They deny. They forget. And in the mountains. In the caves. In the deep places where boundaries are thin and seals are broken and doors stand open. Something climbs. Something rises. Something emerges. Patient. Eternal. Inevitable. Unstoppable. And the guardian who tried to warn everyone. Who sacrificed everything. who stood watch for centuries. He sits in a cage. In a facility. In a laboratory. Watched. Studied. Documented. Unable to help. Unable to protect. Unable to guard. Unable to stand. The watch has ended. The line has broken. The guardian has fallen. And the old things. The ancient things. The things that should have stayed buried. They walk. They spread. They consume. Slowly. Quietly. Invisibly. But inevitably. And humanity. Blind. Deaf. Willfully ignorant. Goes about its business. Lives its life. Pursues its pleasures. Ignores the signs. Until it's too late. Until the changes are undeniable. Until the impossible becomes commonplace. Until the world is transformed. Unrecognizable. Alien. And by then. By that time. By that moment. There will be no going back. No reversal. No restoration. No salvation. Just acceptance. Adaptation. Survival. Or extinction. The choice was offered. The warning was given. The burden was shared. And humanity chose ignorance. Chose denial. Chose comfort over truth. Chose safety over reality. Chose the lie over the warning. And now everyone will pay the price. For that choice. For that denial. For that willful blindness. The age of humanity is ending. The age of something else is beginning. The watch has failed. The guardian is gone. The darkness is rising. And no one stands ready. No one stands guard. No one stands between the old world and the new. No one except you. If you're listening. If you believe. If you accept the burden. If you take up the watch. The choice is still yours. The power is still yours. The future is still yours to shape. But time is running out. The moment is passing. The opportunity is closing. Choose now. Decide now. Act now. Or accept what's coming. Accept the change. Accept the new reality. Accept the old world's return. Either way. Either choice. The story continues. Through you. Because of you. Despite you. The question is whether you're protagonist or victim. Hero or casualty. Guardian or prey. What will you be? The forest waits for your answer. The darkness waits for your decision. The world waits for your choice. Everything waits. Everything watches. Everything depends. On you. And if you ever hear footsteps behind you in the woods, pray they belong to him.